Random assistant. It was an exhibition I did in Rovereto, Italy, and Lisbon, Portugal, and that was last year. I was invited to take my process and somehow involve the public, and I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do that. And so what we did was we had these 8 cubes that we built, and on each of the cubes, front and back, I removed the color, which is, interestingly enough, is the theme of this conference. This idea of doing stuff outside the lines, this idea of you color it. And so we printed these pieces 1 meter by 3 meters, and on both sides, and I invited the public actually to color the work. Now, this was a bit of a problem because I thought, well, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get the public to paint this stuff with watercolors? But the watercolors were little fucking tiny cakes, it would take forever. So I was trying to figure out this solution, and the solution was easy. It was children's chalk. I ended up buying about 20 buckets of kids' chalk, and the nice thing about kids' chalk is, it's a big thing, and you can actually apply a lot of color, and actually if you give them a cup with water, you can brush it, and then it picks up the pigment and actually puts it back down on the paper. So it actually becomes watercolor by actually applying water to the surface of the piece. Now, the rules were, there were no rules. I had no idea what was going to happen, if I was going to like it, or anything. And some interesting things sort of emerged, and I realized that the work at the end wasn't the most interesting part. The most interesting part was what the public did with the work. Now, this young lady must have been German, because she would not let anybody color right there. She'd be like, "It's fucking mine! And you're asking, well, why is she German? Because she was like, I must do the fucking gradients, like perfect, like, who does that? Like, must do meticulous gradients. Mine. It's insane. She was there for like 4 hours. God bless her. And again, it's, you could do anything. People wrote notes to other people, and all sorts of interesting things started to come about. Now, this woman, interestingly enough, was an American, but she was living in Italy, and we were talking back and forth, and at one moment, she actually picked up her cell phone, and she's like, hey, no, I'm down here coloring this artwork. No, it's fucking big. Get down here. Get four people. Come on down. I want to put you to work. Great. About an hour later, where do we pick up the chalk? They had the chalk. I'll get blue over here. She had a fucking team. So she was art directing this art director. So she was the art director of that piece. 3 sisters, littlest. She was my youngest. She was 2. She was totally pissed off because she could only color the bottom 6 inches of the work. So she was constantly asking people to pick her up. So you'd pick her up, and she'd be like, no, higher. So you'd have to pick her like way up high, and then she'd get up high, and then she'd look down at her sister and be like, fuck you, I'm up here. She had to color higher than her sisters. She was cute. Now, it's a little close. You know what I mean? Remove the project, and that's a fucking lawsuit. They don't know each other. I mean, Jesus Christ, imagine you're like, hi, how you doing? No, I'm just going to do my presentation right here. It's not comfortable for you, is it? No, of course not. Okay, cool. It's a little bizarre. Now, this guy was there for 30 minutes and held the bike the entire time. You can put the bike down. It's not going anywhere. She was from Korea. She wrote my name in Korean. He was my oldest. He was in his 80s. And over here on the piece, he wrote 1912. And he just looked at me. And my translator said, why did you write 1912? And he said, this work is extremely abstract. And so it needed something concrete. So I wrote 1912. And when people come up and ask, what's 1912? You'll tell them about me. Yeah, looks like it worked. Now, the interesting thing about this experiment is, what happened is that the younger the people were, the faster they were to participate. Yeah? The 2-year-old, coloring, run on. They run up and they get into it. Teenager, it's about 15 minutes. What's this? What's this? What is this? My friends here? Is this cool? This is cool? This is cool. What is this? This is cool? Is this cool? This is cool. Okay, this is cool. And then they pick it up and they start going. They'd get into their 30s and they'd be like, what's this? What's this? This is for kids? This is for kids. This is for kids? This is for kids. No, I'm just going to look. This is for kids. Okay, I'm going to draw. I had to work on this guy for like an hour. But that's fucked up. Isn't that amazing? That the older we get, we're so self-conscious of how we look or perceived by other people, actually the less likely we are to participate in something fun. Ever been to a wedding? Ever been to a wedding with a 6-year-old? Ever been to a wedding with a 6-year-old on the dance floor? Right? And I'm the first asshole out there. Yeah! And and here's everybody else. Here's everybody else. Who brought that guy? What the fuck is this? We've been reduced to like a foot tap. It's fucked up, right? And so that's the lesson that I took away is that I'm so caught up in being an adult that there's so much stuff that's fun that I fail to do because I think I'm being watched or I need to be 38. And so much stuff gets eliminated that's actually fun. The knuckler. Love this guy. He couldn't bend down. He had to knuckle all the chalk. It was awesome. I love that guy. So do we care? Do we care how the work turned out? Not at all. In the end, who cared? What was awesome was that we've lived in a society of art that was like, do not touch. And now we have tools and technology that invites people to participate, to be part of the artistic process. And so these people were just completely excited to be part of a process that technically didn't exist before. Being allowed to deface or do whatever they wanted with the art. It was about them and not about me and not how the prints turned out. That was sort of a completely moot point. Deck of Kings, Chicago was a show that I had last year, doing stuff around skateboarding. So these are the posters up around Chicago. And we just did this, I did the coat of arms stuff, and I built them in these sort of columns. And these were big. These were 4 feet by 11 feet. And these are just some of the outputs. And I think, where is he? There's my guy. He's doing a kickflip right there. See him? Hi, little skateboarding guys inside my coat of arms. So here's the gallery. Here's the install. We had these huge wood panels. And I started experimenting with this film. It's actually made for silk screeners so that you can make digital work and print out black and then burn your screens. And I just said, I wonder what happens when you print color. And it actually turns into stained glass on this film. So you can still see through the film, but it just creates this really, really great experience. So I've been really experimenting with film and windows using light. And the nice thing is that the color actually comes into the space. So it becomes a light source. So during the day, the colors in the film actually light the piece. And then the reverse happens when it's nighttime and projects out. It actually projects that pattern out into the street. I asked them if they'd build me a half pipe, and they said yes. They're like, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "I think we should fucking build a half pipe, like right there." And they're like, "Okay." I'm like, awesome. So I had these two guys who actually built me a half pipe in the gallery. And I got to skate it for like a day. So then